In this screencast, we're going to see how to get Excel to do calculations on many numbers at once so that you don't have to key in or type in a lot of different things unnecessarily. So here's our example. Over here in column A, we have the salaries of everybody at a company, and over here in column B, we have their bonus for the year. Some of them got 1,000, some of them 2,000, some of them 3,000. And the first thing we want to do is add everybody's bonus to the salary to see what the total compensation was. So of course, we could individually type in Excel 36,893 plus 1,000, 45,739 plus 1,000, etc., but that's just silly. Instead, we're going to tell Excel that we want to do a calculation. So we start by typing in equal. That says I want you to do some kind of calculation. Then what do I want to do? I want to take this cell, A2, and then add it to B2. And I could either click on B2 or just type in B2. And when I hit enter, it gives me the sum, 37,893. But I don't want to do that 10 times either. Now, the cool thing is that even though I typed in A2 plus B2, what Excel heard was take the two numbers to the left and add them together. So if I copy that formula, that idea will be copied. It won't always be taken out of rows 2 and 3. How do I copy that formula? I move the mouse cursor until it's the lower right-hand corner until I have this black plus sign. I left-click and I drag, and that copies the formula all the way down. And notice that to this one it added 3,000, just like we want. Here, even though I started with the formula A2 plus B2, when I copied it down, it came to A11 plus B11. So that does a calculation multiple times. Now, same idea, new salary. Suppose I want to add $2,000 to everybody in the at the company for next year's salary. So now I type equals, doing a calculation, A2 plus 2,000, and boom, copy the formulas down, and now all the original salaries have $2,000 added on for next year's salary. Suppose instead of adding 2,000 to everybody, I wanted to give everyone a 10% raise. Well, giving someone a 10% raise is the same thing as multiplying by 1.10. So multiplying by 110%, 1.10 is the same as giving them a 10% raise. So I type equals A2 times 1.1. That person got a 10% raise, and then I copy the formula down again. Now there's one more thing which is a little bit tricky, but let's see how it works. Suppose for the following year, I want to experiment to see what happens, what the salaries look like. So I'll call it third year. And I'm going to put a number in over here, put in the number 1,000, and I want to add that number, this number, into all of these new salaries to see for the third year. So look what happens if I try to do the thing I think I ought to try to do. I type in equals this column plus this. Okay, that did what I wanted. It added 1,000. But when I copy the formula, notice that all the ones after didn't have anything added to their salary. Why not? Well, the reason they didn't have anything added was because even though I typed in D2 plus H2 here, what Excel heard was take the number to the left and the number in the cell 3 units to the right and add those together. So when I come down here, this says D3, which is here, plus H3, which doesn't have anything in it. So for this one, I'd really like to fix this number 1,000, just fix it. So the way I do that is I say, okay, I'm telling you H2, and I really mean H2. Don't change it when I move the formula around. And the way to say I really mean H2 is to put a $ in front of the H and a $ in front of the 2. And now I still have just added 1,000 here, but now when I copy the formula, it does add 1,000 to all the others. And the reason that's useful is if I want to experiment and see what happens, I can come back here, change this 1,000 to 2,000, and they'll all be changed over here automatically. So that's what's called absolute addressing. It's the difference between relative addressing and absolute addressing. When I type in D2 here, it says, oh, I'm looking to the number 1 to the left. But when I type in $H$2, it sees, oh, I'm talking about the number which is in H2. That's what needs to go there. So that's how you do that. So these are Excel tricks that can be really useful when you're playing around with data and when you're experimenting, and hopefully it'll be helpful.